Imagine waking up tomorrow, and everyone you know pretends you don't exist. No one answers your messages. No one looks at you. No one even says your name. You haven't been attacked. You haven't lost your job. Nothing dangerous has happened. And yet, something inside you begins to panic. Your heart beats faster. Your stomach tightens. Your thoughts spiral. You keep asking yourself one question. Did I do something wrong? Now imagine something even stranger. This feeling is older than language, older than civilization, older than history itself. To understand it, we have to travel back, not 100 years, not 1,000, but 80,000 years ago. Night has fallen. A small fire burns beneath a sky overflowing with stars. The world beyond the flames is almost completely dark. Around the fire, 20 people eat together, children laugh. Hunters share stories, someone quietly sharpens a spear. But one person sits alone. No one offers food, no one speaks, no one even makes eye contact. Nothing violent happens. Nobody threatens him, nobody tells him to leave, and somehow, everyone understands what this silence means. Tomorrow, he may have to walk away, alone. And alone, few humans survived. For our ancestors, being ignored wasn't embarrassing, it wasn't awkward, it wasn't uncomfortable, it was terrifying. Because in the ancient world, loneliness wasn't an emotion, it was a warning that your life might soon be in danger. That warning became so important that evolution carved it directly into the human brain. It became impossible to ignore. And that's why, thousands of years later, one unanswered message can still ruin your entire day. Why does something so small hurt so much? The answer changed human history. For almost all of human history, being alone wasn't normal. Humans lived in small bands, usually no larger than 30 or 40 people. They weren't strangers. They were family, friends, children, grandparents, people who had known each other their entire lives. You woke beside them, walked beside them, hunted beside them, and when night arrived, you slept only a few feet away. Privacy was almost non-existent, not because our ancestors disliked being alone, but because survival rarely happened alone. Once food had been gathered, or the hunt was over, the rest of the day belonged to the tribe. Children played, parents repaired tools, grandparents told stories passed down for generations. As the sun disappeared, everyone drifted toward the fire, not because it was entertaining, because it was home. The fire gave warmth. It kept predators away, it cooked food, but it also did something even more important. It brought people together. Around the fire, every laugh, every shared meal, every story was quietly weaving the tribe together. Strength wasn't built only through muscles, it was built through trust. And that trust was more valuable than any weapon, because once you belonged, the tribe would protect you. But what happened when someone no longer belonged? Imagine the fire growing smaller behind you. Each step carries you farther from its warmth and closer to the darkness. The laughter fades, the voices disappear. Soon, the only sound left is your own breathing. For the first time in years, you are completely alone, not for an hour, not for a night, but perhaps forever. Today, solitude can feel peaceful. You can close your front door, order dinner, call for help, sleep behind locked walls. But 80,000 years ago, none of those things existed. One twisted ankle could become a death sentence. One infected wound could end a lifetime. One failed hunt could mean days without food. And if no one was there to carry you, to protect you, or simply bring you water, your chances of survival fell dramatically. Humans weren't built to survive alone. Compared to most predators, we're surprisingly fragile. We have no claws, no sharp fangs, no incredible speed. Our greatest survival advantage was never strength, it was each other. A single human was vulnerable, a tribe was unstoppable. That's why being rejected was so frightening. It wasn't simply losing friends, it was losing your safety net, your food, your protection, your future. So evolution created an alarm loud enough that you would do almost anything to find your way back to the fire. That alarm still lives inside you. But how can a feeling cause real physical pain? The answer lies inside your brain. Your ancestors never knew what a neuron was. They never heard the word psychology. And yet, their brains were solving a problem that would shape humanity forever. Imagine you're sitting beside the fire. Someone suddenly refuses to share food with you. No one speaks. No one smiles. Something feels wrong. That uneasy feeling wasn't random. It was your brain asking a simple question. Am I still one of us? Because if the answer became no, everything else could disappear: your shelter, your food, your protection, your future. Evolution couldn't wait until tomorrow to warn you. It needed your attention immediately. So it reached for the most powerful signal it already had: pain. Thousands of years later, scientists discovered something extraordinary. At UCLA, researchers invited volunteers into a brain scanner to play a simple game. At first, everyone was included. Then suddenly, one person was left out. No insults, no shouting, no violence, just silence. And yet, inside their brains, the same regions that become active during physical pain began to light up. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger reached a remarkable conclusion. To your brain, social rejection isn't merely similar to physical pain. It uses many of the same neural systems. Think about that. Your brain reacts to exclusion, using circuits that evolved to warn you about injury. Not because evolution made a mistake, because, for your ancestors, the two dangers often led to the same outcome. A broken leg could leave you behind, being abandoned, could leave you exposed. Different paths, the same destination. This is why rejection feels so overwhelming. Your conscious mind says, it's only a text message. But your older brain whispers, what if this is the beginning of being left behind? Dr. John Cacioppo spent decades studying this ancient alarm. He discovered that loneliness doesn't simply affect your emotions. It changes your entire body, as if danger is standing just outside your door. Imagine hearing a fire alarm that never turns off. At first, it grabs your attention, but after weeks or months, it begins to wear you down. Loneliness was designed to be temporary, just long enough to push you back toward other people. But modern life created something our ancestors almost never experienced: being lonely for months, sometimes for years. Your brain quietly tells the rest of your body, stay alert, something isn't safe, don't relax. Stress hormones continue to flow, sleep becomes lighter, your heart works harder, even your immune system begins to change. Think about that. Your body is preparing for predators that aren't there, for dangers that disappeared thousands of years ago. Because your brain isn't reacting to reality, it's reacting to what loneliness meant for almost all of human history. For your ancestors, being separated from the tribe usually meant something had already gone terribly wrong. Maybe they were lost, maybe they were injured, maybe they had been abandoned. Whatever the reason, being alone demanded immediate action. Evolution never expected humans to spend entire days without meaningful conversation, or weeks without physical closeness, or years surrounded by people, yet feeling completely invisible. And yet, that has become surprisingly common. Millions of people wake up, check their phones, answer emails, finish work, and go back to sleep without sharing a genuine moment with another human being. Here's the strange irony: never before in history have humans been so connected. And yet, many of us have never felt more alone. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar believes there's a reason for this. Our brains evolved to build deep relationships with a relatively small number of people. Not thousands, not millions, just enough to truly know and truly trust. Social media gives us the appearance of connection, but your ancient brain isn't counting followers, it isn't measuring likes. It's asking a much older question: who would sit beside me if the fire was the only light left? Maybe that's why an ignored message hurts, not because you lost a notification, but because, for a tiny part of your brain, it feels like losing your place around the fire. And that leads to an even bigger question. If our ancient instincts no longer match the modern world, what are we supposed to do about it? The greatest change in human history wasn't the invention of the internet, or electricity, or even agriculture. It was something much quieter. We slowly stopped needing each other. For hundreds of thousands of years, every important moment happened together. You ate together, worked together, grieved together, laughed together. If someone celebrated, the whole tribe celebrated. If someone suffered, the whole tribe carried the weight. No one was expected to survive life alone. Then, little by little, the world changed. Cities grew, families became smaller, neighbors became strangers, homes became quieter. Today, it's entirely possible to spend an entire weekend without speaking to another person. Not because you're hiding, simply because you don't have to. From an evolutionary perspective, that's astonishing. Your ancestors would have found it almost impossible to imagine. A human living completely alone, by choice. We've built a world where independence is admired. We celebrate the people who need no one, who solve every problem alone, who never ask for help. But evolution never rewarded isolation, it rewarded cooperation. The humans who survived weren't always the strongest, they were often the ones who stayed connected. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies noticed something beautiful. Food was shared, children belonged to everyone, knowledge passed from elder to child. Survival itself was a group project. Maybe that's why the happiest moments in life rarely happen alone. Some things haven't changed in 100,000 years. Perhaps happiness was never meant to be something we achieve. Perhaps it was always something we shared. So maybe the problem isn't that humans have become weaker. Maybe our world changed faster than evolution could. Your brain is still searching for faces it recognizes, voices it trusts, hands it can reach, a place where it knows it belongs. And every time you feel that quiet ache, when you're left out, ignored, or forgotten, remember this: that feeling wasn't invented by social media. It was inherited from every ancestor who survived by staying close to the fire. So perhaps the goal isn't to silence the alarm. It's to understand what it's trying to tell you. Because once you understand that, everything changes. But there's one final truth that ties this entire story together. Let's go back to where this story began. A single person sitting just beyond the light of the fire. For a moment, imagine you are that person. You hear laughter, but it isn't meant for you. You smell food, but none is offered. No one says, "Come closer." Your body doesn't know whether this silence will last an hour or forever. It only knows one thing: something is wrong. Now open your eyes. You're no longer sitting beside a prehistoric fire. You're sitting in your bedroom, or on a train, or in an office. The world has changed completely, but your brain hasn't. That strange feeling when someone leaves you out doesn't come from weakness. It comes from memory, not your memory, humanity's memory. Every person alive today shares one remarkable thing. Every single one of our ancestors found their way back to the fire, again and again and again. Otherwise, none of us would be here. Think about that across droughts, ice ages, predators, disease, and countless generations. The people who survived weren't always the fastest or the strongest. Very often, they were simply the ones who stayed connected. Perhaps that's why the deepest human fear isn't failure, it isn't embarrassment, it isn't even death. It's becoming invisible. Because for almost all of human history, to be unseen was to be left behind. Today, one unanswered message can awaken that same ancient fear. Not because a phone matters, but because somewhere deep inside, your oldest instincts still mistake silence for abandonment. And maybe understanding that changes the way you see yourself. The next time rejection stings, the next time loneliness quietly appears, you don't have to ask, "What's wrong with me?" Instead, ask a different question: what is my brain trying to protect me from? Because that pain isn't your enemy, it's a messenger. A messenger from another world. A world where every sunrise depended on the people beside you, where every meal was shared, where every story was told around a fire, where belonging was the difference between life and death. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding of modern life is believing that humans were designed to do everything alone. We weren't. We were shaped by countless generations who survived through trust, cooperation, and connection. The campfire may have disappeared, but the instinct to gather around it never did. So the next time someone sits alone, invite them closer. The next time a friend goes quiet, reach out. The next time you feel that ancient ache, remember this. You are not broken, you are not weak. You are carrying a brain that was built for a world where belonging meant survival. And maybe the oldest lesson humanity ever learned is still the one we need most today. Find your people, sit closer to the fire, because we were never meant to survive alone.